Hey everyone, Brandon from the A-Team. Here's a brief overview of what to expect from the Light Storm 60D and 60X, a compact, high-output focusing LED built for filmmakers. The Light Storm 60D and 60X share many of the same features. The primary difference is that the 60D is a daylight balanced fixture and the 60X is an expanded bicolor fixture with a color temperature range of 2700 Kelvin to 6500 Kelvin. Both of these lights are 60-watt focusing lights with built-in aspherical lenses, so while it behaves very similar to a Fresnel lens fixture, including spot flood capabilities, we're able to get both a better quality of light as well as enhanced light output. And unlike traditional tungsten or HMI Fresnels, this light can easily be powered via DTAP or Sony NP-F batteries, as you can see on the table here. And of course, features Sidus Link wireless app control. The 60D can output a whopping 50,000 lux at 1 meter in full spot, and the 60X can output up to 30,000 lux with the same settings, easily putting it on par with or surpassing comparable light fixtures. Now let's start off with the design and build of the light. Unlike other Lightstorm series lights like the 300D Mark II or the 300X, the 60D and 60X's manual controls are built into the lamp head, so there's no extra control box. This light is able to maintain its more compact size, coming in smaller than even a 120D Mark II lamp head, but while fitting in all of its features like the spot flood adjustment and accessory mount. The main body of the light is a barrel-shaped lamp head that houses the aspherical optical lens element that is responsible for focusing the light and enhancing its output. This light was designed to be durable and weatherproof, so although we cannot give it an official IP rating, this light should be able to withstand some rainy days. Just don't give it a big splash or dunk it in the water. The power options, however, are not weatherproofed and may require some protection. On the front of the lamp head, there is an accessory mount for the 8-leaf barn doors, the included Bones mount adapter, the Spotlight mini zoom, or the LS60 softbox. To insert or remove items into the accessory mount, all you have to do is move the top latch. On top of the latch, you'll see there is a locking pin. This makes sure that any and all accessories stay in place when mounted inside the accessory slot. To unlock it, simply pull it forward, away from the bolt. This will free up the top latch so you can lift it up and rotate it to the side. And to close it, just reverse the process. Now let's move on to the yoke. To cut down on the size and width that come from the larger ratcheting handbrake yoke found on the 120D Mark II and 300D Mark II, we went back to a simpler locking knob approach. But don't worry, this knob can handle a lot. On the yoke and the lamp head, there are a bunch of teeth that fit into each other like a rosette, so when the locking knob clamps down on them, the lamp head does not budge. With that in mind, avoid tilting the lamp head by force without loosening the locking knob. On the other side of the yoke, there is the V-mount receiver for mounting power options. We decided to use a V-mount receiver as our mounting point because of its simplicity, small size, and inherent compatibility with V-mount batteries. Obviously, you can slide a V-mount battery into the receiver for a compact battery-powered setup, but our other power options are compatible with it as well. The AC power supply bracket features a V-mount on the back of it, allowing it to easily clip into the yoke for an all-around clean package. And our dual NP-F battery plate features the same mount. So if you don't have any DTAP batteries, but you have a bunch of NP-F batteries, you can still put together an incredibly quick run and gun lighting setup. While we're on the topic of power options, let's dive in a little bit deeper. Like I mentioned, in addition to AC power, there are two ways to power the Light Storm 60D or 60X using batteries. The first is DTAP batteries, and the second is NP-F batteries. Because the optics of the 60D and 60X only require 60 watts of LED output to produce a lot of light, these lights can actually run off of virtually any DTAP battery. The max power consumption of the light is 90 watts, so as long as your battery can output 90 watts via its DTAP port, you're all set. And I say DTAP compatible batteries because even though the yoke uses a V-mount receiver, you can still power this light using gold mount batteries. We decided not to have a version with a gold mount or 3-stud receiver because the hardware is much larger when compared to the V-mount. We recommend that gold mount battery users simply hang their battery from a bag or bongo tie their batteries to the light or the stand. Lastly, in regard to DTAP batteries, make sure that your battery is not delivering more than 21 volts via its DTAP. The 60D and 60X are compatible with standard 14.4 volt batteries, but high voltage batteries like 26 or 28.8 volt batteries will damage the light. Now let's take a look at one of the most prolific batteries in filmmaking, the NP-F style battery. The 60D and 60X can be powered by NP-F batteries only when used with our custom intelligent battery plate for the LS60 lights. We'll get into why it's so intelligent in a bit. The 60D and 60X require two NP-F batteries to achieve full power. This is because each NP-F battery is roughly able to deliver about 30 to 40 plus watts. Once the batteries are mounted into the battery plate, you can see the status LED indicators on the side corresponding to each battery. If the status LED indicator light is blue, that means the batteries are active and operational. If the lights are red, that means that there may not be a battery in one of the slots or that the battery level is critically low. If the status LED indicator light turns red, it is a sign that it's time to recharge those batteries. Using 2 NP-F batteries allows for an incredibly inexpensive battery-operated setup, but at the end of the day, batteries can be fickle and difficult to manage. If you only have one NP-F battery left, you'll still be okay, because the 60D and 60X adopt the same single battery half-power operation technology as the 300D Mark II and 300X. One of the battery release buttons on the battery plate is red, similar to the 300D Mark II and 300X, signifying that as long as a battery sits in this slot, the 60D and 60X can run off a single battery at half output. But the finer details that went into the design of the battery plate don't stop there. When the NP-F battery plate supplies power to the fixture, a small dot appears next to the Bluetooth symbol on the OLED screen. This is a small detail that indicates that active communication between the battery and lamp head is successful. As long as the two devices can actively communicate with one another, the 60D or 60X can display the expected remaining battery life with reasonable accuracy, regardless of brand. The product design team put a lot of effort into every detail of the user experience here. Now that we're done with power options, let's move on to the back of the light. On the back of the light, you'll find the main user control interface and IP67 DC connector. The 60D and 60X feature an OLED display as well as a simple power button, spot flood control knob, and 2 parameter control knobs, the intensity and selection knob, and the CCT and menu knob. For the 60D, the menu knob obviously cannot control the color temperature. Spotting and flooding the light is very simple. With the integrated spot flood system, the 60D and 60X can be spotted into a tighter 15-degree beam angle or flooded out to be a wider 45-degree beam angle. All you have to do is rotate the focusing knob clockwise to spot it in and counterclockwise to flood it out. This action shifts the LED engine forward or backwards in the lamp, bringing it closer to or further from the aspherical lens, adjusting its beam angle. The rest of the controls of the 60D and 60X are very simple. Rotating the intensity and selection knob will adjust the intensity, depending at the speed at which you turn it. And the same is true for the CCT and menu knob. The intensity can change in as small as 1% increments, while the CCT can change in increments as small as 50 degrees Kelvin. On the 60X, you can click the selection knob to toggle between CCT presets like on the 300X. In the menu, you'll find 2 primary lighting modes, CCT mode, which is the standard mode, and effects mode. The 60D can access 8 system effects like the 300D Mark II, and the 60X can access 9 lighting effects like the 300X, including paparazzi, fireworks, faulty bulb, lightning, TV, pulsing, strobe, explosion, and for the 60X, fire. The 60X also has some degree of CCT control for all of these lighting effects. For fire, TV, and fireworks, some CCT shift is built into the effects, so users can choose between cool, neutral, and warm for fire and TV, and 3200 Kelvin, 5600 Kelvin, or random for fireworks. Diving into the rest of the menu, it's very similar to other Lightstorm lights. You can select from one of 4 different dimming curves: exponential, logarithmic, S-curve, and linear. With the linear dimming curve, the intensity of the fixture varies uniformly with the percentages. With the exponential dimming curve, the intensity of the fixture changes slowly in the lower percentages and then quickly accelerates in the higher percentages. With the logarithmic dimming curve, the intensity variation of the fixture changes quickly in the lower percentages and then decelerates for the higher percentages. And lastly, with the S-curve dimming curve, the intensity of the fixture changes slowly initially, changes quickly in the middle, and then reverts to changing slowly towards the higher percentages. The 60D and 60X also feature Sidus Mesh technology. This means they can connect to other Sidus Mesh enabled lights up to 80 meters away in ideal conditions for a maximum range of 400 meters from the main smartphone or tablet using mesh hopping. To connect the fixture to the Sidus Link app, first enact a Bluetooth reset. Simply select it in the menu and then click yes. This will disconnect it from the current mesh network if it is linked to one, and then make it discoverable by the Sidus Link app. You can find the Bluetooth UID of the light by viewing the fixture serial number in the system menu. This is the number that is displayed in your Sidus Link fixture list, so you can easily identify the light you want to control. The 60D and 60X also have the ability to use studio mode. If studio mode is active, the light turns on as soon as it receives power. So if these fixtures are set up in a permanent placement, you can flip a power switch and all of your lights will turn on. Studio mode is active as the factory default. You can also change the language of the interface in the system menu, with the current languages being English and simplified Chinese. And lastly, the firmware version option allows you to determine if your 60D or 60X is up to date by checking the version number. And when an update is available, simply update it wirelessly using the Sidus Link app. And that rounds out the system menu of the 60D and 60X. The 60D and 60X are incredibly versatilized due to their compact, weatherproof design, focusing ability, and battery power options. And that's pretty much everything you need to know about the Lightstorm 60D and 60X.